Hey y'all, it's Dim here. I'm back again with another video. And this time I am gonna be talking about why I think fully composite Deku versus fully composite Mike is a bad death battle idea. Now I know a lot of people actually really like this matchup. And I also know that a lot of people really hate this matchup. The controversy with the Reddit post alone sort of kind of explains it all. But I'm just basically gonna be going over the connections, debatability, my interests, the animation potential, the death potential, and the alternatives for both. So with that said, let's get into them. Starting off with the connections, they're the only things that I actually really like about this matchup. The connections between these two were that they were both born in a special world, but they didn't really have any special abilities and were constantly bullied for it until they both went to a university, which then they had met a bully who had those exact same powers that they wish they had, Bakugo and Sally. But then they go ahead and end up liking them, as they both mainly had to rely on their intellect, as Mike Wazowski constantly studies like a chimp, and Deku always takes notes. Both and I both are obviously green. Yeah, that's the only really part I'm really interested in. For what the matchup is, being a joke, it does at least have some really good connections. As for the debate, when you're compositing them both, it's actually heard as really close. I took a poll and right now, as I'm recording this, it only has one vote, that going to Deku. But this could realistically go either way, sort of depending on what you believe within the Dragon Ball universe and the Kingdom Hearts universe. Yes, I'm dead serious. Deku is in Jump Force, and Goku's probably in Jump Force, and Mike Wazowski is in Kingdom Hearts, one of the most broken universes that ever exist. But let's go ahead and talk about, I guess, my interest in both of these characters appearing on the show, which is when things start to go downhill. With Mike, I'd be kinda interested to see him. I mean, he's one of my favorite characters, so I wouldn't mind seeing him on a show. But Deku, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I mean, he already appeared once in Asta vs. Deku. And while you can at least debate on whether that was a good episode or not, I think Deku was done just fine. And there's really no need for him to come back unless he gets different stats when the series ends. But now we're gonna go into the animation potential. And I heard people say that, like, oh, the animation potentials are super good. But I'm not just feeling it, mate. And I wish I could give an explanation as to why I don't really like the animation potential. It just doesn't really vibe that well. Deku mainly just punches a lot. And Mike Wazowski most likely does have some abilities in like Disney Infinity or Kingdom Hearts. But when I play Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't really recall him having any types of magic. though I could be completely wrong. It's just been a while since I played the game. But yeah, animation potential, I'm just not really feeling it. As for the death potential, it's just sort of when it gets worse. I don't really think the death potential is anything to really write home about here. I mean, what? I just don't see how interesting it would be if Deku wins. He probably just punched Mike Wazowski really hard, resulting in an explosion. And for Mike Wazowski, I mean, he sure will kill Deku. He sure will not be living anymore after he deals the final blow. Um, but yeah, while while this matchup does have some pretty solid connections and good debate, I'm just not really interested in Deku showing up again, and the animation and death potential are just really boring and uninteresting for me. But now let's just talk about who I think they should fight if they were. For Deku, he should just really fight Miles Morales. They have they, the connections really don't get hurt that much. The animation potential is probably way more interesting, along with the interactions, and I just like it a lot more. I don't know what else to say. And as for Mike Wazowski, well, I have one certain matchup for him saved later, but as another good alternative, why not just do Shrek and Donkey versus Mike and Sully? I mean, the connections are really as deep as this one, but the debate's also pretty close. I'm fairly interested in any of the characters showing up. While the animation potential might not be the greatest, it's fully saved up by the interactions, which are just beautiful. And that's really all I care for a Mike Wazowski matchup. Not really the animation potential, but how he would really interact with his opponent. And Shrek and Donkey would be good interactions, in my opinion. That potential could be really sad, honestly. And yeah. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Composite Deku versus Composite Mike. And I know it might be slightly controversial to some people, but don't worry. When it comes to matchups that I don't like, that some people do, I do hate worse.